Hi folks, Lossien here, and today we're building Rumi's outfit from K-pop Demon Hunters at the end twice. I'm going to do it in 1 hour, and then I'm going to do it in 10 hours so that you can see the difference. Now, I've gathered everything together to make the 1 hour as efficient as possible. I'll show you what we've got. We've got a metallic stretch spandex in white because it's easier to work with than like a stretch vinyl. I've got gold for the details. I've got a reference of shorts that are somewhat high-waisted so I can use them as a pattern. I'm going to try them on and make marks on them to know exactly where I need things to hit. And I've also got a top extremely similar to her top. I will again try this on and make marks on it to know exactly where my pattern's going to be. I've got my handy chalk. I've got this zipper that I definitely got from a secondhand store to be her neck zipper. I've got elastic for the waist. My machine is already threaded with white thread. And just so you know, because this is a stretch, we're going to be doing the 2 forward, 1 back stitch, which is going to eat away a lot of our time, but it means it's actually wearable at the end, and that is the goal here, to see how much we can do to make a wearable good costume in 1 hour. And last but not least, I've got my phone as a stopwatch. So let's get to it. Officially starting the timer. So this is really awkward because I've got you set up in front of the mirror so that I can look past you into the mirror to actually see what I'm doing. And I'm looking at my reference and I kind of like where this is sitting. Maybe hers comes in just the tiniest bit like that. Okay. I'm using this chalk because it washes out. And then hers is kind of cropped, but not crazy cropped. I would say like maybe there. Yeah, I think that's a flattering crop on me. Everything else is hitting the right way. We're going to do a center seam because hers has a center seam. I do need to mark on the back as well, even just approximately. When I cut it out, I'll draw that a little lower. She also has princess seams, and they're about here. These I will only draw on one side so I can make sure that they come through. She has princess seams on her pants too, and her pants are actually fairly short. Yeah, that's a flattering height. Okay, well, I'm gonna cut the difference and do mine because just kind of in the middle of that. And I am going to do a side seam. We're gonna put a seam here. I don't know, feels right. I should have checked ahead of time. Get your references, people. See, when I let it do what it wants to do, it dips down, and I want it to come up here. Is about 1 inch. So I'm gonna put an arrow like this and put a 1 inch. So I know to add 1 inch there. I think we're good. I think we're golden. Yeah, I'll stop. So I used my pieces of clothing to make the pattern, making sure that I kept in all of my seam lines and gave myself seam allowance as well. If there's interest, I do have this broken down in like a longer form to show you step by step, but we're just going through quicker now. We're officially done the pattern cutting. We got pants, nope, shorts. Oh my god, I'm dropping everything. We're at 21 minutes. Whew, let's start sewing. This was honestly a mad dash to sew it as fast as possible. I used my regular 2 forward, 1 back stretch stitch because I knew I would not have time to go back after trying this on and redo all the seams. And I just sewed all of the major seams together. I didn't hem anything because that way I could try it on and make any adjustments that I needed to. So, we are officially at 43:18. It is time to try it on. Pretty much fit in the fitting. I just made quick marks about where I wanted all the hems to be, and I adjusted the underarm. That was it. I was pretty happy with it. Now it is time to take this all off, cut the gold out for the neck and here, sew the gold on, hem, put the waistband on. We have just over 15 minutes. We have about 16 minutes. Oh my god. We can do this. Then it was really quick to use my ruler and a roller tool to cut all of the trim, so I did that as quickly as possible. Last but not least, in a mad dash as I watched the time go up way too quickly, I sewed it all together. Now I didn't have time to do all the top stitching, I barely had time to sew this all together, but I got all the gold on, got the waistband on, got the pants hemmed, got the shirt hemmed, and whew, just made it. Let's get changed. We did it in, there we go, 1 hour and 15 seconds. I'm gonna lose my wig. We're gonna have to fix that. So, here we are. This is the 1 hour. It took almost 2 hours to draw all the markings on. So that was fun. They're not perfect. I did as best I could to what I saw. I am left-handed, so my right side looks, I think, better than my left side, because drawing with my wrong hand. Although this was done after and I figured out how to do it. These were boots I already owned. This is a belt I had and a chain necklace that's safety pinned on. I already had these earrings and cuffs. And, ooh, can you even see it? I think it's under the wig. Oh no, it's there. This is silver, not gold, but you know, got the idea, because that's what I had. And this wig is fresh out of the bag, so it's bobby pinned back because it comes down. It's a little small for my head. And it's not long enough, but that's okay because I can actually do stuff. If it was so much longer, it'd be so heavy. The color is way brighter than I would personally prefer, but it was cheap and I was doing this pretty quickly. As you can see, we don't have a lot of the details. There's none of the top stitching. It's a tiny bit tight on the shorts. Like if I had had more time, I could have redone them with a bit more material. Because the shorts that I based them off of are a different fabric. All in all, though, for an hour it's pretty good. As you can see, by doing it so quickly, you lose a lot of the details. I don't have the dangly bit of the belt. It doesn't have the correct amount of chains, and the belt is technically different. But all in all, this is actually pretty decent. For only spending an hour on this, I'm actually pretty happy with it. The main thing that I would do differently is style the wig and take time to try it on ahead of time. Because I have an average to larger than average head, it's a little tight on me. Apart from that, I'm actually really happy with it. It's a very comfortable costume. The only thing I'm worried about is the marks rubbing off. You can see they got my pants here, just from doing my shoes up. So yeah, it's not 100% accurate, and for only spending an hour on it, I'm okay with that. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate. I think, honestly, it's super recognizable, and that's the main thing for me with cosplay, is to be recognized. So there are a few things I'm going to do differently with my 10 hour. One of that is take the time to style the wig, make it a little bigger. I'm going to make the proper earrings and proper belt that I don't have here. We're going to relace the boots with gold, because hers are gold. I don't want to permanently attach anything to these boots, because hers technically have gold at the top, but like, I don't want to wreck these boots. These are good, basic boots. See, if I was smart, I would have done the 1 hour and 10 hour on the same day, so I wouldn't have to redo all of the marking. But I'm going to have to redo all of the markings. Oh my god, I'm going to spend like so much of my life just drawing these markings on. Oh well. So I've got all my things for a 10 hour Rumi. That's a different project. So it all starts with a slightly different fabric. Blech. I'm going to use this white PVC because I think it looks right like her costume. I mean, this does look good, but it's not quite right in my head, and I really like PVC and I want to make more stuff with it. However, I am going to use the same gold because I do like the texture, and that way the gold doesn't leak onto the white and leave anything behind. We've got the same elastic for the pants, the shorts. I've got a zipper for the pants, and then I've also got a zipper for the shirt. Now this is actually an invisible zipper so that we don't see it, because I didn't like how much of the other zipper we could see. I went out and bought that one specifically for this. As mentioned before, I also have lacing for the shoes. I went and found something as close to the gold as possible. It's pretty decent. I will have to go in and like tape the end and finish it off because I don't want this giant thing and I don't want it to fray. So let's start with making the pattern, which we're going to make based entirely off of measurements, and then I'm going to sew everything together with a basting stitch. Then I'm going to try it on, tighten up all my seams, go back, take it apart, make my adjustments, and sew it together properly. So this is going to take a lot longer than an hour. I also have stopwatch reset. My stopwatch officially reset to 0, and we will start this when we start. I need to charge my phone. Starting the timer. We're going to start with the shorts. I think we're going to start with the back. This is not going to be a how to make the pattern. I can do that later if people want. Okay, we've got shorts. Put those by the machine. And next up is the top. All right, we have the shirt, we have the pants, and we are officially at 21 minutes. Let's get sewing. Okay, time to sew it together. Hola. I think I'm gonna leave the zipper out to make this easier to sew. And now we have a top that is ready to try on. We will have to take this in probably around the curve of the bust. But the top is ready to try on, and we are at 27 minutes. Well, almost 28. Let's get the shorts done. And that is good to try on. And we are at 32 minutes. So it is ridiculously too tall. I think I marked the front and then never actually like took it down. But that's okay. It comes over the belly button. And I'm gonna mark all my alterations with blue so that we know. And I've got you so far away because I've got the mirror behind the camera so that I can fit myself and you can see as I'm doing it. I'm liking where the seams are going. Let's mark this dart. These darts I'm gonna kind of do by feel because it is hard to do your own butt darts. We'll leave them pinned and then I'll kind of straighten them out when it's laying flat. And this is inside out, so it can come in a little bit here. I just want the waist to not be falling the whole time. That is way better. I'm gonna fold that down just to kind of get an idea, and I think I need to take in the very back because I do have a bit of a sway back. But my shorts are too long, which is good because we did not give enough seam allowance. I think actually the amount we have it, just like as seam allowance, is going to be pretty good. There we go. That looks right to me. And these will be all top stitched and everything. I think this is actually the height of the top, but we need to do some alterations first. So this is way too tight and needs to be taken in, which we did say was coming. That fits way better. And then I think we're gonna take it in under the bust. I know hers is pretty flat, but I just want it more fitted. That's okay. But now the neck is sitting way better. Still is a little high, so I think if we take it down to there, it's like 1/4 of an inch down, I think it's gonna feel right. This is what it feels like. And then it definitely is going out too far. So it comes like that, and it needs to be lower under the armpit. I'll kind of connect those by eye when it's laying flat. Okay, now we're gonna pin, and then we just have to figure out the length, which hers is like just here. We're gonna take it in here. I don't know. It's approximately pinned, and then we fold this up. I think that looks right. I will have the boots, so it'll be more flattering. We've got all the marks. I'm gonna take this off. Let's check a time. We are at 43 minutes, just over. So our next step is to take this off, lay it down, make all the adjustments, and then actually sew it together. Let's go do that. So because it was all basted together, I took it all apart, made all the adjustments where all the pins were on both sides, making sure the left and right were the same. And then also cut out the gold detailing. I've sped it up here because it's, you know, pretty boring to just watch me do everything we just talked about. So then I sewed the top together, making sure to do all the top stitching. I put in the zipper and the collar, as well as the gold detailing on the collar. Now I did not hem the bottom or the sleeves yet because I wanted to try it on one more time to make sure it all fit. Then I sewed together the shorts, and again, I didn't do the waistband or the hem on the bottom so I could make sure it all fit, but I did do all the top stitching. Okay, so we are at, can you see that? 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Well, 2 hours and 37 minutes. Okay, that's way better, and it fits better too. And then this would be 1 inch. Yeah, that's fitting correctly now. And I think this is a pretty decent armhole. So if we do the gold like right at the edge, all the way around, I think that'll be good. I think it does need to come in just a tiny bit here. And that's good, the neck's sitting okay. And then I just double folded the hem and stitched it down and put elastic in the waist and stitched that down as well. Pretty straightforward stuff. Finished off the shorts. And the top was next to finish off. I did the armhole casing and then I just added the elastic to the bottom hem. And we are at 3 hours and 6 minutes. And because my husband printed me the belt pieces, the next step was to clean out all of the supports on the inside of them, which is very arduous and time-consuming, but it makes a big difference afterwards. Okay, we are at 4 hours and 21 minutes. And then in trying on the top, I realized that the neckline was actually cut wrong. I cut the back out like it was the front and the front like the back. So there was a huge gap in the back that I needed to cut an extra piece to raise up and adjust the neckline. So that did add some time, but I think it looks so much better in the end. And we are officially at just over 5 hours. Next up was the belt. So I glued together the bar that holds the jewels and dangly bits, and then I also cut out the material for the belt. I ended up sewing that together with an elastic on the inside so that I could feed it through. I also looked through all my chain to find the right one and put all the beads together. I relaced the boots with the gold and also used some double-sided tape to put a folded over piece of gold at the top to get that detail she has on her boots without permanently ruining these boots. And I'm gonna be honest, wig styling is not my forte, so this was me really trying something new. I got a pretty cheap wig off Amazon, I think it was only like 20 bucks, and used Uhu glue to kind of smooth it back. I learned that I used way too much. But you know, an attempt was made. It looked better than it did before. And then I rebraided the braid with adding in a bit of like these tubes I have that were purple. It was mixed. I probably needed extra wefts to give it the thickness hers has. I mean, the whole thing is too dark. Hers is more of like a lavender hair color. But you know what? I'm not a wig styler. I am specifically a sewer. So this was me stretching outside of my comfort zone, and I'm not super upset with how it turned out. Some of the chains that I chose for the bottom of the belt weren't the right color, so I actually went in and painted them with some gold on both sides. I let it kind of sit between each coat and flipped it and all that jazz. It looks much better now. And one of the things that took forever with the 1 hour Rumi was the makeup, like all the patterns she has. So I ended up pulling a pair of dance tights that I had. I put them over some black leggings, don't worry. And I ended up using a Sharpie that I liked the color of. It was pretty close to the body paint that I used, and drew on all of the patterns. This was extremely time consuming, but now I don't have to do this again in the future. It's already done, I'll just have to draw on the upper patterns on myself. Came back to the wig after it had dried because I wasn't happy with how it looked and I hadn't tried it on. And I realized that it wasn't horrible, but my main issue was that I needed the kind of pieces in front of the ears. So I made marks of where they were, and I used some hair from the bottom of the braid to do that. And the final step you'll see me doing here was actually putting the chains onto the belt. Now what you won't see is that my husband made Rumi's sword for me. He 3D printed it and processed it and put everything together. I had an extra 45 minutes by the end of all of this, so he used that 45 minutes to make the sword because he thought it was a darn shame that I didn't have one. And I have to agree. So overall, I am pretty happy with my 10-hour Rumi. You know, there's a couple things I would fix up in the future if I ever wanted to wear this to a con, most notably the wig. It was my first time ever doing like a hard styled wig, and I used too much glue, and also this doesn't fit. It's too short in the back because I didn't double check the fit. And it was like a $20 wig, so I'm not super upset about it. I would probably make a skin-colored top that has all the patterns on it, so I don't have to worry about constantly drawing them on, which takes 2 hours. And then I would be afraid to like sit in the car to get to the event. I may in the future redo the top because I cut this too high here and too low back here when I was making the pattern. I don't think it's super noticeable, so we'll just see if I feel like it. And I might replace the chain with like the correct actual colored chain. I would just have to go get it, and I haven't yet. The sword came out really cool, very happy with that. When I started, I thought that 10 hours was going to be way too much time. It turns out it wasn't enough time specifically for the wig. I rushed the wig because I was worried about having enough time, and also because I got this really cool sword. But if I had taken my time with the wig, I probably could have spent 10 hours on the wig alone. But for a $20 wig, it's not terrible. It's a like 8 out of 10 for me, which is pretty high because I'm very critical of my own costume.